Every great city depends on infrastructure: roads, bridges, railways, airports. But sometimes, the most important structure is the one no one ever sees. Hidden beneath the Hudson River lies one of America's most critical transportation lifelines, a tunnel that millions rely on, yet few ever think about. Every weekday, more than 200,000 passengers travel between New Jersey and New York through these rail tunnels. For many, it's just another commute. But behind every journey lies a growing problem. These tunnels were never designed for the demands of the 21st century. The original tunnels beneath the Hudson River opened in 1910. At the time, they were considered one of the greatest engineering achievements in the world. They connected Manhattan with the growing rail network to the west, transforming commerce, travel, and the future of New York City. More than a century later, those same tunnels are still carrying the majority of passenger trains. Age has begun to catch up. Years of constant use, combined with severe damage caused by Hurricane Sandy in 2012, have left the tunnels in urgent need of repair. Saltwater flooded critical infrastructure, electrical systems deteriorated, concrete weakened, and every year, maintenance becomes more difficult. Yet shutting down the tunnels is almost impossible, because they remain one of the busiest rail connections in the United States. If just one tunnel is forced to close unexpectedly, rail capacity beneath the Hudson River could be reduced dramatically. The consequences would ripple across the entire Northeast Corridor, one of America's busiest passenger rail networks. Delays, congestion, economic losses, and millions of hours wasted every year. For New York, this isn't simply an engineering challenge. It's an economic necessity. To solve a problem more than a century in the making, America is undertaking one of its most ambitious transportation projects in decades. A massive new tunnel, built beneath the Hudson River, designed not only to protect the past, but to secure the future. But how do engineers build a multi-billion-dollar railway tunnel beneath one of the busiest rivers in America without stopping the trains above? That story begins underground. Building a tunnel beneath a river is one of the most difficult engineering challenges on Earth. Engineers aren't simply digging through rock. They're working beneath millions of tons of water, surrounded by unstable soil, aging infrastructure, and one of America's busiest transportation corridors. Every meter must be carefully planned, because one mistake could affect an entire city. The new Hudson Tunnel isn't replacing the old tunnels overnight. Instead, it is being built alongside them. Once the new tunnel is complete, train traffic will shift to the new route. Only then can engineers finally close the original tunnels, one at a time, for the first full rehabilitation in more than a century. Without building a replacement first, those repairs would be almost impossible. Every section of the tunnel has been carefully designed. Engineers must avoid existing utilities, building foundations, water pipelines, subway systems, and underground infrastructure. At the same time, they must ensure the tunnel can withstand enormous water pressure, ground movement, and decades of continuous rail traffic. It's a level of precision measured not in meters, but in millimeters. Construction begins long before the tunnel itself. Massive access shafts, ventilation structures, and concrete tunnel portals must all be completed first. These become the gateways through which giant tunnel boring machines and thousands of construction workers can safely reach the underground worksite. At the heart of the project is one of modern engineering's greatest inventions, the tunnel boring machine, or TBM. Weighing thousands of tons, this enormous machine slowly cuts through the earth, while simultaneously installing reinforced concrete segments behind it. With every rotation, the tunnel grows longer, stronger, and safer. It's like building a railway inside the ground, one ring at a time. The Hudson Tunnel Project represents an investment of approximately $16 billion, making it one of the largest transportation infrastructure projects currently under construction in the United States. But this isn't just about spending money. It's about protecting one of the nation's most important rail connections for generations to come. Thousands of engineers, construction workers, surveyors, and transportation specialists are working together on a project expected to take years to complete. Every decision, every measurement, and every piece of reinforced concrete must meet some of the strictest engineering standards in the world, because once trains begin running, failure is simply not an option. Building the tunnel is only half the story. The real impact will be felt above ground, in the lives of millions of commuters, in the economy of the Northeast, and in the future of American rail transportation. Every morning, before most of America wakes up, hundreds of thousands of people begin the same journey. Teachers, doctors, engineers, office workers, students. They all depend on one thing: a reliable rail connection beneath the Hudson River. For them, this tunnel isn't just concrete and steel, it's a daily lifeline. The Hudson Tunnel is part of something much larger, the Northeast Corridor, America's busiest passenger rail network. Stretching more than 450 miles, it connects some of the country's largest cities and supports millions of passenger journeys every year. Although it represents only a small portion of America's rail network, it generates an enormous share of the nation's passenger rail traffic. When the Hudson River crossing slows down, the effects spread far beyond New York City. Every delay carries a cost. Minutes become hours. Appointments are missed. Businesses lose productivity. Families lose valuable time. Transportation experts estimate that major disruptions beneath the Hudson River could cost the regional economy billions of dollars over time. Because when one critical link fails, an entire network begins to slow down. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy exposed just how vulnerable this system had become. Salt water flooded the century-old tunnels, damaging electrical equipment, signals, drainage systems, and concrete structures. Although emergency repairs kept trains running, the hidden damage never truly disappeared. Every year, aging infrastructure becomes harder and more expensive to maintain. The Hudson Tunnel Project changes that future. First, new tunnels will carry passenger trains beneath the river. Then, the original tunnels can finally be taken out of service, one at a time, for complete reconstruction. When both old and new tunnels are fully operational, the rail network will become far more reliable, more resilient, and better prepared for the future. But the impact goes far beyond transportation. Reliable rail service supports businesses, tourism, real estate, and economic growth across the Northeast. Millions of people depend on these connections, not just to travel, but to keep one of the world's largest metropolitan economies moving. In many ways, this project isn't simply about building a tunnel. It's about protecting the engine of the American economy. Behind every engineering project, there are people. Every train carries thousands of stories, dreams, careers, families, and opportunities. Most passengers will never see the tunnel beneath them, but every day, their lives depend on it. Sometimes, the most important infrastructure is the one that remains invisible. For more than a century, America relied on a tunnel built for another era. Now, a new generation of engineers is building the tunnel that will carry America into the future. The world's greatest infrastructure projects aren't always the tallest. They aren't always the most beautiful. And sometimes, they remain completely invisible. Yet their impact can shape an entire nation. The Hudson Tunnel Project is one of those projects. When completed, the new Hudson Tunnel will provide a modern, more reliable, and more resilient connection between New Jersey and Manhattan. For the first time in generations, the century-old North River tunnels can finally undergo a full rehabilitation without bringing one of America's busiest rail corridors to a standstill. It's not just about adding capacity, it's about protecting what already exists. For commuters, this project means fewer delays, more reliable journeys, and a transportation system built for the demands of the future. For businesses, it means stronger economic connections. For the Northeast, it means greater resilience. And for America, it represents a long-term investment in infrastructure that will serve millions of people for decades to come. Projects like this are measured not in months, but in decades. Thousands of engineers, construction workers, designers, surveyors, and transportation experts are contributing to something that future generations may simply take for granted. Just as the engineers of 1910 could never have imagined today's commuter rail network, the work being done now will shape the journeys of tomorrow. Throughout history, America has built projects that changed the nation. Bridges that connected cities, dams that powered industries, highways that transformed travel. The Hudson Tunnel Project belongs to that tradition, not because it's the biggest, but because it solves one of the country's most critical infrastructure challenges. Sometimes, the most important projects are the ones that simply keep everything moving. For more than 100 years, millions of journeys have depended on a pair of aging tunnels beneath the Hudson River. Now, a new chapter is being written, not above the skyline, but beneath the water. Because the future of transportation isn't always about building higher. Sometimes, It's about building deeper and ensuring that one of the world's greatest cities never stops moving. Long after construction crews leave and the machines fall silent, this tunnel will continue doing what it was built to do: connecting people, supporting businesses, powering an economy, and proving that the strongest foundations of a great city are often the ones hidden beneath it.